Everything we covered up to this point has been mainly centering on modal music or like modal tone centers. And I think, most people have a pretty good grasp on the pentatonic and maybe even mixolydian and some of these concepts that I've been talking about lately about modifying the pentatonic to kind of fit the modal or key center that we're in. But even when you have something that is modal or that's something that stays in the same key, there is a lot of nuance to how to play through changes to actually service the song. And I realize that my mic is over here. Let me get my mic in a good place so you can actually hear me better. I can fix that in post, but I need to get this mic here. Okay. I think there's good examples of that all over the place. One of the best, in my opinion, if you ignore the complexity of the rhythm of something like Road Jimmy, which has some complexity because there's some bars of 5 in the song, the solo section's actually an 8. We do have to talk about the counting of it because the counting is a little unique, but it's a very beautiful chord progression, and I view it as two halves, and there's two kind of chunks of 8. And there aren't a ton of chords in terms of different chords. There's an A, a G, and a D, and very briefly there's a B minor. So there's 4 chords technically. It's just the order that they come and the rhythm that they come, which makes it the perfect kind of training ground or practice ground to service a song, because the order in which they come and how long you sit on a chord kind of shapes the way that you solo over it and the narrative that you're kind of crafting when you're choosing notes. So the chord progression is an A, and it goes to a G, to a D, and quickly back to an A. And so that's like the first half. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So it's kind of like a weird grouping, and that's something I really like about the Dead is they play with groupings of notes. Another good one's like Don't Ease Me In, where it's like a chunk of 3 and then a chunk of 5, but it's in 8, right? So 4 4. So there's nothing crazy happening with the time signature. It's just we're playing an A chord for 3 kind of beats or bars, and then we're playing G for 2, D for 2, and A for 1 again. So it totals up to 8, but it's just kind of a weird thing that you have to count and to make sure you're doing it right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And then it goes to a B minor. So B minor, A, G, D. And those all, the first 3 chords get 1 beat. So 1, 1, 1, 1. And then when you land on the D gets 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, A. And that gets 1 beat. And then it starts over. So it's a little weird. I'll do that the second half of this again. So I'll count it. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And lastly, I'll say the chords, and then I'll play it all together. B minor, A, G, D, 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 A. Okay, so all of it together sounds like this. And I'll count this one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See, if I don't count, then it's hard to know what's going on. You kind of have to count the whole thing. So let me just play it one time through where I don't say anything, just so you can hear what it sounds like, and then I have a loop, and then I can talk about, or maybe even before I start the loop, I can talk about how I kind of think about soloing, and then I'll play the loop and show you some of those concepts. So here's the whole thing with no counting or anything. I just started over right there. Okay, so I think this is a great progression to talk about servicing chords because, like I just showed you, there's kind of weird counting happening with the length that you're on each chord. So you can't really just get away with playing pentatonic over stuff and just it'll just all blend together and sound like you know what you're doing because there's odd kind of note groupings happening and they'll just fly by and it makes it sound like you're rambling and not knowing what you're doing. So this is a great song to shift our thinking away from a lot of what I've been showing you lately, which is like a modified pentatonic kind of sound, to give you the tools to be able to kind of find your own voice over a modal type of jam. This is a different approach, and I think they're both really important, and if you can kind of get your muscle memory or strengthen your muscles in both of these approaches and bring them together, that's where a lot of magical stuff can happen. But for this type of exercise and this lesson in general, I wouldn't think about a pentatonic at all. If anything, what you really should be learning is your caged shapes. And I'm not gonna do a chord chart for this video, I think, because there's a lot of resources out there for caged. All caged is saying is like we have what are known as cowboy chords, and cowboy chords are like the open position of each type of chord, each kind of shape. We have a G, we have an E, we have an A, we have a D, and we have a C. Caged, C-A-G-E-D. So that's what caged stands for, is just the shapes of those. And the thing about caged is you can take a shape here like this C that's open and imagine that you're barring at this nut basically, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G. You can take that exact shape and just you play it as a bar chord. Right? So that's one shape. You have the A. You can do it with all of these different chords. And if you memorize these shapes, you can play each chord in different locations. And so each chord you have technically has like 5 shapes. Although the D and the C are the exact same thing. So we have caged, but it's really cage because the C, if you just move it up a whole step and treat it as a bar chord, that's D. So it's 4 positions. You have 4 positions for each chord that are unique to each other. So if you have a G, you can play a G here, you can play a G here, and you can play a G here. 4 positions, right? And I could try to give them a more differentiated sound, but in terms of like actual inversions, it's kind of like 3 unique sounds, but 4 positions to play, you know, the G position and then this kind of bar E position they share a lot of the same literal notes because they're right next to each other. So if we distill all of that information down, there's 3 inversions to every chord that are important. And you can learn them as just the top triad to keep things simple. And I'm doing a G right now, so this is from B string going to G, sorry, the E string going to G, it's 3, 3, 4, 7, 8, 7, 10, 12, 12. And so that relationship, G, 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 is true for every single chord. If you want to do an F, then I know that I can do, it's the exact same thing I played, but every single one of those is a whole step down. So what I'm trying to say here is there are 3 inversions to every chord, both major and minor. And so, you know, if I play a G here, a G here, and a G here, I can play in the same position just by changing one note. I have a G minor. I have a minor in 3 positions. And so if you can learn that, so the 3 positions for your major and your minor, which shouldn't change that much, it's only changing one note, and then learn that for the entire fretboard for at least the top triad, you can solo over like 90% of music by using only chord tones. So learn the caged system, but really you only need to focus on the E shape, the C shape, and the A shape. Those are the 3, because those are your 3 inversions. And learn how to play it for a major chord and a minor chord. Okay. So moving on from that, we have the complexity of Ro Jimmy, right? We went over that song form. We now know that we can use chord tones in the form of triads through the cage system for minor and major chords. So what we need to do, and you can have the chord chart for the song up and literally map it out if you want, you know, like there's 3 bars of A, and then 2 of G, and then 2 of D, and then 1 of A, and then the next chunk, 1 for B minor, 1 for A, 1 for G, 4 of D, and 1 of A. You can map it out that way if you want. But really what you want to get to is the point where you know the song and you can play chords so well that you could do it as triads, right? So as triads, it would be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. Oops, sorry. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's one way to play that. The cool thing about having the 3 inversions for every chord is anytime a chord passes by, you have 3 options of how you want to play that. And if you mix and match all of the permutations and combinations, a song with the complexity that Ro Jimmy has basically gives you millions of options of piecing things together. I don't know the math, but there probably is a formula that you could plug in how many chords you have and the inversions and the permutations or combinations of it. It's probably like combinations, because you know what I'm trying to say. Any math people out there, you can get back to me. But it's a lot of options, and it provides a very fresh supply for musical choices. I didn't do the best job just now saying, you know, being able to speak and play at the same time, because they're different parts of my brain. But it's important to be able to play the song as triads in chord tones. That's the basic lesson here. And so if you can do that without any music, when the music comes, you're going to sound like a soloing beast. I think it's more natural to start by trying to find this stuff over the chords, because you have that reinforcement of what the heck is happening. But ultimately, you should get to the point that you just heard for any song. And if you can play chord tones like that over any song, that's 50% of what I consider to be intelligent soloing. The other 50% is using scales in your ear to kind of craft melodies and be unique. And so I will show you for a little bit here. I'm just going to play chord tones, and then I'll put in some scale type playing and try to create a unit, like a hybrid of that style. You know, the full approach. It's like 2 halves. 2 sides of the same kind of coin, but different mentalities. So here is a loop. I'm just going to play chord tones for a little bit. messed up right there, but just keep going. Okay, now I'm going to start to add in some scalar knowledge, which this song I kind of view as like A major, but with all that other stuff happening, right? That didn't work, but that's okay. Keep exploring. And I'm messing up some of my rhythm, but that's okay. Anyway, I can keep going. I kind of lost it at the end there, but you can hear how much, possibility there is. It's just kind of endless how you put the pieces together, and I think that's what makes that song so special and addicting, at least the solo section of it. But I think there's some pretty hard, difficult concepts in this video and some new information and some new stuff to really hone in on. So Let me know if you have questions and if you want to go over any specific songs. But as usual, good luck.